What's up, everybody? Thank you for logging on and listening to the Common Fanatic. This is Scantron.
This is Big Tim.
We're more than excited for this week. Finally getting away from some basketball, diving into the best winter sport, hockey, which finally just ended. And just going to hear kind of what we think about the Stanley Cup. I hate Sidney Crosby. And also about how we feel the Bruins season went. So, Tim, you ready to get going?
Yeah, let's do the recap.
Let's get it. Finally diving into some puck here. More than excited. Just going to hit it right on the head with the Brothers broadcast, the Brocast. Scantron, Big Tim, two ready. So let's start off with the Penguins just won the Stanley Cup last night. Bummed out, I'd say. Hate Sidney Crosby. Don't really hate the Penguins, but definitely hate Sidney Crosby. Tim, what do you think about the series?
Definitely hate the Penguins. Stronger hatred than apparently my bro here. It was a fantastic series, honestly, and it didn't even go to Game 7, up and down the ice. It was one of these series that somehow each team in the first four games kicked one another's ass in their own home building, but it still was entertaining because hockey's that much better than basketball.
Wow. Well, I agree with that statement a lot. But one thing you can't deny, hate Sidney Crosby, hate his ugly mustache, hate his concussions, hate his country. But you can't deny he's an excellent hockey player, probably the best in the world and has been for years now, and he finally got his third cup. Not that he needed to, but he finally got his third cup to solidify it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the Penguins have just, it doesn't matter what they do in their organization. They whether they sign a free agent, they bring somebody up from the AHL, it is just turns into flat out gold. It's just a situation where you just kind of shake your head being like, oh, we just lost top 3 defender in the league in Chris Letang mid-season, but no, it's all right. We'll still win the cup.
Yeah, and everyone just forgets about it. But I would say, there was other teams that are way more banged up than them, but definitely Chris Letang, huge loss. I would say massive talking point about the entire series is how much the refs fucked over the Preds.
Yeah, Game 1 really started that off big time. I mean, it's not even so much the refs in Game 1. It was just the fact that why is that offsides rule even in existence? I understand what they're trying to do because, the game is so fast and refs miss a few different things, but let's challenge an offsides 30 to 40 seconds into the offside as a result of a goal, and then you take a goal away. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely stupid. I so agree with that. But one thing that will, I think, always go down, and finally really excited to talk to my Pittsburgh family about putting an asterisk next to one of their team's championships finally, is the refs taking away that goal in Game 6. Awful to see. I understand that the ref kind of definitely did lose sight, but there was no way that puck was covered up and right into the empty net. Tough to see. I was pulling for the Preds, obviously, just because of how much I hate Sidney Crosby. Tim clearly just hates the city of Pittsburgh. But yeah, honestly, like the refs were crucial in the Penguins playing so well. Game 1, Game 6. However, I think the refs did make up for it in Game 6 a little bit when the Preds had a 5-on-3 and didn't score. And that's on them.
Yeah, I mean, you have a 5-on-3 for 45 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is. You got to capitalize. I mean, tip your cap to the Penguins penalty kill. I mean, they really stepped up huge in the series. I mean, and that's what I was trying to say before as well. I mean, the Penguins are just so stacked. It doesn't matter if you go and lose Chris Letang, all of a sudden Ollie Mata comes out of nowhere. You sign Phil Kessel 3 years ago, and all of a sudden he shines in Pittsburgh. I mean, Malkin's too old in every other system, but he shines as the big, goof, the running around on the ice with the most, puck skills out there. It's just, it just makes you shake your head. Back to the days of back-to-backs with Lemieux and Yager,
Yeah, no doubt, man. One of the most exciting things I think about the entire season is seeing the lowest seed in the entire playoffs with Nashville not only make it all the way to the Stanley Cup, but prove that they're a hockey city. I think the South showed up huge, and between country music stars and all these different people you would never think would give a shit about hockey at all, it was great to see Nashville rocking, and they were all about it.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, Nashville is getting there with the South and the Country Fest and stuff like that. And actually, fun fact, Game 6 was probably the largest night in Nashville entertainment history, between the Country Fest being there and Game 6 taking place all at the same time. But the South has started to grow with hockey. I mean, Tampa Bay Lightning, I know there's a lot of transplants there, but there is a significant following there, just because I was there for the 2011 Eastern Conference Finals when the Bruins and Tampa were, going to town. Florida.
Sick brag, dude.
Yeah, sick brag, big time. I was vacationing on the beach and I went to hockey games. Screw you guys.
You're wicked cool. Okay, but yeah, no, dude, you're totally right. Really cool, and I think that maybe this will be a Bobby Orr type thing where, hockey became huge in Boston after Bobby Orr, and, maybe with the Preds being so good, some kids in the South will start skating on some ice. Not that they really even have snow. Moving on, this is a Boston talk show, a Boston website, a Boston blog. We got to talk about the Bruins, and we've been waiting this for a long time and pushing it back, but, we got to recap this Bruins season.
So the Bruins, it's a tough recap in its totality because of the fact that they had just the 2 previous seasons taken the initiative to not get in the playoffs in the last 2 weeks of each consecutive season and completely choke under Julian. And as soon as Bruce Cassidy took over and Claude Julien was fired this year, this team took off, and it was looking south and it was looking gloomy, but I'm just glad they made the playoffs.
So let me just make a quick comment in here. Now, legitimately the day after the Bruins won the Stanley Cup in 2011, Tim was just talking about how much he hated Claude Julien. I mean, Tim has hated Claude Julien since the initiation of Claude Julien into Boston. Tim hates Claude Julien. Every time we're watching the game, Claude the Frode hates Claude Julien, and honestly, poetic justice for Tim. I can't even tell you. He's smiling right here, too excited Claude Julien's back in Canada. I can't blame him for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Claude Julien comments, I'll give the man his due. I will say that as much as my disdain is for him, especially as the last 5 years as Bruin coach, he is the best coach in Bruins history, in my opinion. He won a cup. He took them to another cup. The Bruins, if you look in their history, have been an awful franchise. I said it. Terrible franchise. I mean, you're talking about going back to the 1920s, and I mean, there are some teams who are in their currency that have been in existence since the 60s that have almost a third more cups than the Bruins do. So it's, besides the Bobby Orr days, I mean, they were always one player away when Ray Bourque played, the Jacobs family. I go on and on and on. But I'll give Claude his due. It was time for him to go, but he was a great coach when he was here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Happy to see that. But yeah, I think your points on Bruce Cassidy were great. It was awesome to see that stretch there where they were, 7 games in and hadn't lost a game with them, and I think the team really came together. The other thing that I think really killed the Bruins, and I think they probably would have won the series, was if they had, maybe 2, 3, 4, or 5 of their hurt defensemen back.
Yeah, I mean they were playing an 18-year-old kid after a while. I mean, it was that.
He played well.
He did played very well. I mean, he's setting up as a cornerstone franchise next to Brandon Carlo. They just defensively, they are far better this year because of all the experience that they got in the cup, playoffs in general. So it's something that is good. I'm actually more concerned about the Bruins offense and the amount of dead money that's there leading into next season. But
David Krejci.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, it's, they got a great contract, bringing in Brad Marchand at $6.5 million, especially where he scores 40 goals. But they need some serious help. They need time to pass, and some of their young guys need to step up in the AHL and develop faster for them to be competitive.
Yeah. Tim, do you think the Marchand year was a fluke, or you think he's coming back with a great season this year?
I think he'll come back with a great season. I think he has solidified himself as a 30-goal guy. I compare him a little bit to Lucic, and the reason I say that, they're completely different players. Lucic is a much bigger body, bruiser.
Let me just tell you, I really hate Milan Lucic, so I'm listening.
But what I can say about Marchand is that the way he plays, I like to call him a cockroach. He's a punk out there, but it works for him, and it makes him very successful. But Milan Lucic at one point in his career chose to not be a fighter and be a goal scorer, except the problem was he really had no skill, whereas Brad Marchand has a tremendous amount of skill and stopped being as much of a cockroach, and now he's going to consistently put up between 25 and 40 goals a year for the Bruins.
I could kind of see that. Biggest similarity I see between the two is their absolutely massive noses. I mean, just huge on both of them. Also, I think Marchand will always be a little shit, slew-footing people and doing dirty stuff, and that's just how he plays, gets under your skin. So last talking point here, a really sad one for me because, seeing the 2011 run and then, seeing the second run against the loss to Chicago in the Cup, and it's really sad to say, but Zdeno Chara is very old.
Zdeno Chara is old, but I got to give credit where credit's due. He's had a great Boston career, coming over from the Senators. I think he's been here almost 10 years now. What I like about Chara going into next season is he's on an unbelievably good contract. I think he's making between $4 and $5 million. And if it's a perfect situation that if the Bruins go south, they'll be able to trade their captain and get valuable assets, as a number 2 pairing defenseman is what Chara would be on another team. He's got the longest stick in the league, which is really helpful in general. He's clearly a step behind everybody. But, fearless leader, the guy's still doing the Tour de France in the offseason, and he's in great shape. He's just a half a step behind everybody else now.
Yeah, he's just going to keep working hard in the offseason, and, maybe he'll have 2 or 3 years left in his career, so that'll be good. So that's all for this week. Once again, looking for some more questions, guys. Got to hit us up. Really want to get that going, get some interaction. Love hockey. Sad to see it go, but, now we're into the dog days of the summer with baseball, and we're definitely looking forward to it. So this is Scantron signing off.
This is Big Tim
signing off. We'll see you next week.
I also want to give a huge shout out to our first ever sponsor, BioPro Boston. BioPro Boston services all types of trauma, distressed property, and biohazard scenes in communities throughout Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and Rhode Island. If you or someone you know needs a major cleaning for law enforcement crime scenes or hoarders, make sure to head over to bioproboston.com. That is bioproboston.com, and Jim will take care of whatever you need. Also, we can't forget our sponsors. Huge shout out to Turtle Gear Apparel. They're absolutely awesome. Make some sweet bracelets that I see everywhere. Definitely recommend anyone who needs a sick bracelet, head over to turtlegearapparel.com and order one up. I got one on right now. I get compliments everywhere I go. Really looking forward to partnering with them. So Turtle Gear Apparel, don't forget it.